WWE star CM Punk has finally shared his thoughts on AEW airing the footage of the fight between himself and Jack Perry at All In of last year. He was speaking to Sports Illustrated about this. We're going to take a listen to exactly what CM Punk had to say about this, talk about what it means, and what the hell is going on with this situation. We're also going to talk about some major announcements that WWE made, including a new partnership and an announcement about a future pay-per-view and where that is going to be held. All that and much more coming up right here in this video. So be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Let's talk about the Punk situation first. Obviously, CM Punk AEW has been a very hot topic for the past few years, from his debut to his departure. And speaking of his departure, one of the things that has been long talked about has been the way this kind of unraveled. And it obviously, began before All In 2023, but it culminated in that incident where there was a fight between Jack Perry, CM Punk, and after WrestleMania week, where CM Punk did an interview with Ariel Helwani, speaking about his time in AEW, telling his truth, and, in the eyes of many, burying the company in some respects, AEW then responded by airing the footage of CM Punk's fight with Jack Perry, playing it into the storyline. And now, in a new interview with Sports Illustrated, Punk has finally responded to this story, responded to AEW airing the footage. Here is what he had to say in this interview.
So it's just, it felt really ugly, but then I was just like, why? Showing that footage isn't gonna help them or hurt me. So I was just like, whatever. And
did you get?
I was just said being the top draw in two different companies is pretty wild, thanks guys.
Yeah.
That was CM Punk interviewing with Sports Illustrated's Jimmy Traina. Guys, for the full interview, click the link in the description after you watch this. But obviously Punk there saying what I think many people agree with, that if you want to talk about how this felt or whatever, it could it have come across as mean, obviously. And I think part of the intention, obviously, was this happened right after Mania. This was a big deal for AEW. They felt like they were being, kind of attacked or unfairly attacked in this respect by Punk. And this was their way of responding. Now, I've been myself kind of critical of the way they handled this. I don't think that they should have aired the footage in this way. I don't think it really made matters better or even made them look good. I think that the PR battle there was just, they could have done a lot better by just saying nothing and, moving forward. And just let Punk's comments stand. But I also understand that they felt like their company was disparaged. Tony Khan especially felt personally, kind of attacked in that respect. But I also don't see the value in the battle of PR here of trying to do that. And again, I work in PR, so I'm kind of thinking about these things. I think it did a little bit more harm than good, because it made people kind of go back to their, tribalistic echo chambers a little bit more. Either you're with Punk or you're with AEW or whatever. And, reality is that it probably would have been better for everyone if neither one of them talked about this in this fashion, but we kind of knew Punk was going to do it. And look, there's definitely a bit of criticism to be levied Punk's way in that respect, because, he says that, this came across as mean, this came across as whatever. And I'm sure to Punk it did, but you could also say the same thing about Punk's comments about that whole situation. You could say that about Punk's comments about AEW not being a business when, the reality is that they are one. And again, this Warner Brothers Discovery deal seems to be coming up soon, and they are in line to get a bigger increase and be profitable. So there's a lot of blame on both sides. And I know that no one wants to both sides of this issue. No one wants to really talk about it in that respect, but that's the truth. Now, as far as the footage itself, at the end of the day, it did end up doing one thing for positive for AEW. It ended up, I think, indirectly making Jack Perry way more prominent of a figure than he was before. Part of it has to do with him leaving, going to New Japan, but without that video, without that segment of them airing the video, and the way that Matt and Nick Jackson in that promo kind of contextualized it and furthered the scapegoat character, I don't think we see Jack Perry elevated to the stature he is now, because Jack Perry right now is a much different character with a much different vibe than he's ever had before. Never when he was Jungle Boy, never when he was, Beethoven's Jack Perry, whatever he was doing with the FTW World title last year. He did not feel like he had this aura about him. And for the first time really in his career, and in part due to this video and them airing the footage of this fight, and again, I put fight in quotation marks because it really was just Punk kind of choking out Jack Perry and then, not much else after that. But without that segment, I don't know if you get the same type of hype and people talking about Perry, because after that, what happened? Well, they had that big show in Chicago, and like it was like a big thing. People were talking about it. People were excited about Jack Perry, and he was getting booed out the building. Then he returns to AEW, and they do make it a whole thing, and he just feels different, and he feels bigger. And again, outside of CM Punk, I don't think anyone's cashed in on the whole Brawl-in situation more than Jack Perry. And if there's anything positive to take away for AEW's standpoint, in that it is that Jack Perry is just a bigger star because of it. And as far as Punk goes, I mean, look, we all kind of are in the same boat. I think there's going to be a little bit of all of us who are like, we want the salacious drama. We want these people to be talking about. We want to know what happened. Really, like, that's really it. We want to hear from the sources, like, what the hell happened? What's your side of the story? And I think we will get it. Like, we've gotten a lot of it from Punk. I think eventually one day, like, we will get it from the Elite and we will get it from their sides. But I think for now, the best thing for everyone is just to move on, because this story has just made a lot of what we've seen on TV over the past few years very toxic. I know for me, whenever, like, it is hard for me to disassociate AEW as a brand from Brawl Out and Brawl In and like that whole thing. And the same goes for CM Punk. And it is, in some respects, hurt my watching of those products. And like I like, whenever I think about CM Punk and he goes on TV and he takes a shot at AEW, I'm just like, oh my God, not again. Because it wasn't a fun time to watch the show. Like, was it almost like carried on a life of its own online and just became a massive, monster in this hill that like made wrestling like toxic, and no one really, and there were a lot of people who were turned off by it. So again, that's just my take. I hope we can all just move forward for now and just focus on these storylines. AEW is having a great show right now. They are putting on some amazing dynamites. They're in the run-up to a massive pay-per-view where they're likely going to have 50,000 people in Wembley Stadium. WWE is doing great too. They're going to have a big 50,000 seat show at SummerSlam this weekend. CM Punk's going to have his first singles match back in WWE since his return. Both of them are doing great things. I just don't want to talk about freaking Brawl-in anymore. I have to talk about it because it's a big story. And like, I know like that's what the audience wants. And like it is noteworthy at the end of the day. It is noteworthy. But I think the more and more like we get from these, and the more and more like we hear from both sides, it's just, come on. Anyway, that's my view. I'm sure many will disagree. Let me know in the comment section if you do. Also, if you haven't already done so, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell as we move on to WWE making some big announcements. Let's talk about them. So, announcement number 1 was actually regarding the location of a WWE pay-per-view. I'm going to kick it over to Triple H. Here's what he had to say about the location of WWE Survivor Series War Games.
Just got off the phone with our partners at Destination Vancouver, and it is now a done deal. Thanksgiving weekend, Saturday, November 30th, Rogers Arena, Vancouver, Canada. Survivor Series War Games. Trust me, you are not going to want to miss this.
Triple H announcing that Survivor Series War Games will take place November 30th at the Rogers Arena in Vancouver, Canada. This is the first time in a while that a major PLE has come over to Vancouver, and this is an area, the Vancouver, Seattle, like that whole area has been begging for these big shows. I know the Wrestling Classic, who I had the chance to meet last year out in Seattle for Wrestle Dream, like he's excited for it. A lot of local Vancouver content creators and fans, I'm sure, are very excited because this is a very good market for wrestling. Like, look at AEW. They recently ran a show at the Rogers Center over there, and, you know, at a time where they were not selling good, they were not doing well in ticket sales for Dynamite and Collision. I think Collision actually sold like over 6,000 tickets. That isn't, for Collision, that is insane. like if we're talking about like where they're at right now and what they were averaging at that time. So, this is a great market. I expect WWE to sell like I'm going to say well over like 17,000 tickets for the show. I think they're going to pack out the Rogers Arena as much as they possibly can. Again, this market has been hungry for an event like this for a while, and they're going to deliver this, and it could feature a bloodline civil war in War Games, which would definitely like set this over the edge, and that seems to be what they're building towards. We could see Roman Reigns return pretty soon here, and you would think the next big PLE they're building towards is going to be Survivor Series, and that's where this bloodline kind of infiltration or whatever we want to call it could culminate. So we'll see what happens, but congrats to the folks over in Vancouver for getting this. We kind of already knew that it was going to be somewhere on the West Coast. WWE is running a lot of West Coast shows in that time frame, and they announced recently like they were going to be in Arizona, they were going to be in California around that time. So people kind of did, including myself, kind of did like an estimation, like, all right, they're going to be in that area on the West Coast, like throughout that entire time. They're probably going to have Survivor Series, on the West Coast as well. And it is on the West Coast because that's where Vancouver is. It might be in Canada, but it's still the West Coast. But let me know what you guys think, though, about this as we now get into the other story that WWE announced today, or the other announcement, I should say, that was put out today. And that is regarding a partnership and a big change that's happening to the WWE ring. Here we go. WWE has announced that Wingstop will be featured on the canvas. Here we go. Here's the press release. WWE, part of TKO Group Holdings, today announced that Wingstop, the hottest restaurant branding specializing in cooked-to-order chicken wings in bold, distinctive flavors, I love that, will serve as the presenting partner of SummerSlam 2024 on Saturday, August 3rd at Cleveland Browns Stadium in Cleveland. The partnership includes 2 corner mat signage placements, marking the first time in the company's history that the ring canvas will feature this exclusive branding. In addition to its premier designation as the presenting partner of SummerSlam 2024, Wingstop will present SummerSlam kickoff event on Friday, August 2nd, which live streams in the U.S. exclusively on Peacock. The partnership also includes customized video campaign featuring WWE superstars Rey Mysterio and Braun Strowman, which will air across WWE programming this summer. So, WWE announcing a new brand partnership. This, of course, is part of this, expansion into advertising. We saw this a lot over the past few years at WrestleMania. They have advertising at the wazoo there, all the LED boards around the ring, the LED boards on the ring post, the LED boards on the actual apron and on the canvas. Like, everywhere has like some sort of branding on it. And this is an expected move. I think WWE, for these big PLEs, they are going to be marketing the hell out of them. Mark Shapiro, who is a very high-level executive in TKO, I believe he's only second to Ari Emanuel in power, he has said on these quarterly investors calls for TKO, their main objective is to extract as much value as humanly possible out of the product, out of, the placements on the ring canvas. Expect more of this. And I think we should expect even more. I genuinely believe we will get to a point where WWE has sold like all of the like little turnbuckle pads. Those are gonna be like primed out or winged out, whatever the designation is going to be, whoever the partner is. Like they're gonna have logos on there. We're gonna have logos all across the ring, all across the apron. Like people's shirts are gonna be decked out in logos. I think they're gonna go for maximum value and like advertising dollars in these big PLEs, and it's just the way the business is going. You look at AEW, you watch every week. DraftKings is on their canvas every single week. DraftKings is on their turnbuckles every single week. They're doing it too. There's a reason why AEW also has like the LED board all around like the ringside area and on the ring apron. It is in order to sell that one day as, advertising space. Like it is just what is going to happen. And these companies understand that there is money to be made there. There's money to be made in the idea of, these advertising dollars and, having partnerships with companies like Wingstop. WWE also had partnerships, of course, for WrestleMania, multiple partnerships. Like Dude Wipes was a partner for Mania. They're sold to the market, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, look, expect to see this more. I think it is just what's going to happen. I know a lot of people are not big fans of it. They find it distracting. Personally, in the main event of Mania, when you have like, the big like State Farm or whatever progressive logo like slapped in the middle of the screen, I'm just like, yeah, okay. Like I get it, but like, why are we like, a lot of it, sometimes I understand it's way too distracting. Like having like big chicken wings on like the LED boards while you're trying to focus on the match it kind of does take away from the show. So I hope there's a day where they can just come to like a really even like balance with this, and instead of having like, oh my god, look, Dude Wipes, things you wipe your butt with, distracting you from the match, or chicken wing or whatever. I hope we can get to a point where it's like, a logo, maybe a little bit of design here, but like not something that's too overpowering. That's really what I think they should be moving towards. Hopefully they do. Hopefully get to the point where that is the case. But guys, let me know what you think about this in the comments section below. I want to hear from you. Do you love the advertising? Do you hate it? Let me know. Also, let me know what you guys think about CM Punk's comments on AEW, Survivor Series, going to Vancouver. So much to talk about. Guys, we're here every day. Be sure to hit that like button if you haven't already done so. Subscribe and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released.